It was said in ancient times that long, long ago on the snow-capped mountain of Kailash, when worlds were poised between the lingering day and oncoming darkness of night, the mother of the three worlds, seated on a golden throne, requested Shiva to dance for this divine moment in time. Sarasvati played on the veena, Indra on the flute, Brahma kept the rhythm, Vishnu played the drums, and Brahma Bhagavati sang, with all the devas around who watched enthralled, praying to the Lord, and thus the Lord Shiva danced. Behold, the scriptures say, this dance will protect you all. It was the dance of creation, and as yet no evil was born in the world.
Each region of India has its own styles of dance, just as it has its own language and every other cultural difference. India is made into one country primarily by the British and then divided into states linguistically. And there are many different cultures combining together, and in each area there is a classical dance style or more than one classical dance style, sometimes a solo dance style with a dance drama style that sort of parallels it, and then myriad types of folk dances in each region. And the history goes back to the beginning of human civilization and probably before that, with ritual dances and dispelling evil spirits and explaining nature. And then it developed into very codified ritual dances and dance theater. And then now in this past century, it has evolved into a performing art, which is very developed as a performing art while keeping the traditions of its ancient roots. And some people have also branched out to create new directions for it. When we left India, we really wanted to bring Kalakshetra with us, the ideals of Rukmini Devi, to preserve the ancient art, the ideals behind the art, the message the art presents in its perfection. We wanted to bring that, and so people who live in America could also share that, because we thought it was a beautiful vision, and we thought it was important to preserve it for the world.
Kathakali, or story play, is the otherworldly dance drama style which is deeply rooted in the present state of Kerala on the southwest coast of India. In Kathakali, the actors are radically transformed through the use of elaborate facial makeup and costumes. After performing an invocatory dance behind the curtain, in which the actors dedicate their dance to the gods, they reenact episodes from the Mahabharata and Ramayana, the two great sacred epics of ancient India. Kathakali actors require years of rigorous training, both physically and mentally. Plays traditionally last throughout the night, till the early hours of the morning. Kathakali arose as a distinct art form in the mid-17th century, through the patronage of the ruling kings at the time. But its origins go back to ancient Sanskrit drama called Kudiyatam and Kalaripayat, the highly developed martial art of Kerala. Bharatanatyam is an ancient dance style of India which dates back over 2,000 years. Originally performed as a form of ritual worship in the inner sanctum of the temple, it was passed down from teacher to disciple. This lineage, the golden thread which connects us in the present to the earliest practitioners of this dance form, has been preserved and renewed throughout time. Based on the sacred text, the Natya Shastra, sometimes referred to as the fifth Veda, Bharatanatyam and the classical dances of India adhere to a strict code of specifications, where even the movements of the eyebrows are described. The study and practice of Bharatanatyam are considered bhakti sadhana, or a devotional path of practice which can lead to spiritual fulfillment. The lineage of Bharatanatyam can be traced from the Rig Veda, one of the most ancient sacred scriptures, to the Devadasis or temple dancers, to the Tanjore Quartet of brothers who revitalized the dance more than 200 years ago. Despite the fact that temple dancing was outlawed in the early 20th century, Bharatanatyam has survived and experienced yet another rebirth through the efforts of many individuals, including E. Krishna Iyer, Bala Saraswati, Mrinalini Sarabhai, and Rukmini Devi. Rukmini Devi was born in Madurai, South India in 1908. As was the custom for most Brahmin girls, she was given training in vocal music as a child. She aspired to be a musician, but following her marriage to the theosophist Dr. George Arundale, she traveled with him throughout the world. On one of these journeys to Australia, she was introduced to the famous ballerina Anna Pavlova, who advised Rukmini to study the classical dance of her own country. It was this inspiration that set Rukmini Devi on her life path. She returned to India and began studying with Guru Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai. Her first public performance of Bharatanatyam, which caused a great stir in Madras at the time, took place in March of 1936. Up until that time, it was unheard of that a Brahmin woman would step into this field of dance, which was traditionally the preserve of the Devadasis. Presenting herself on stage was an act of great courage. She established her dance school, Kalakshetra, in 1936 at Adyar, just outside Madras city, gathering the most eminent gurus of dance, music, and Sanskrit. Kalakshetra was to become the leading institution for the study of these traditional arts of India, in a setting reminiscent of the ancient Gurukula system of education, where there was close contact between the teachers, students, and nature. Rukmini Devi set the highest artistic standards and never compromised her ideals. The perfection she strove for can still be seen in the choreography, costuming, and music, which continues to live on in what has come to be recognized as the Kalakshetra style of Bharatanatyam. Her powerful influence helped erase the stigma attached to the practice of dance. Those who studied with her have gone on to spread the dance throughout the world.
The school is now in a 100-acre estate with beautiful, traditionally designed buildings on it, with a beautiful theatre built along the Kutambalam design, which is the traditional Kerala theatre, but with compromises modern to Western theatre and all the full modern equipment. It was by the beach. It was a divinely beautiful place filled with flowering trees, and as you walked through the campus you would hear people practicing music and dance and chanting and the murmurs of many Indian languages going on all the time, and the murmurs of birds and animals in the background. There were mongooses and cobras and lizards and all kinds of interesting wildlife there, frogs in the bathrooms.
Rukmini Devi, my director, she's actually encouraged me and told one day, why don't you follow your father's line? My father was a Kathakali teacher in Kalakshetra at that time. And after he died, and she wrote my mother, I heard about Ambu Punikar is his name. He has a younger son, he was interested in art, but I actually am not interested in art that time. No. So I want to become a school teacher. Then I preparing for the training, school teacher. I was 15-year-old, I think 15 or 16. Then she wrote. The mother replied, of course you can take him when he's very good boy. And they sent immediately train fare and asked him to come. And myself and my teacher, Chandupanikar, the same day we started from there and come to Madras. That is the beginning, 1947, August. That school is very, very, very meticulously following the old system. And Rukmini Devi bought all the old masters from here and there and just put into the Kalakshetra and trained them. She wanted to do very, very, very severe training. This Gurukula system, the teachers and the students stay the same place, and whenever we feel trained, they just go and learn from him and stay there. And this is the way those days. So we learn like that.
As are all classical arts in India, Kathakali is essentially religious. As such, no dance class or performance can commence without the Namaskaram, an invocation and salute to heaven, earth, the feet, the crown, the audience, and the god Ganesh, the remover of obstacles. Flexibility of the limbs is not enough, and much of the student's time is spent practicing eye movements, which must be both powerful and in perfect control. The entire face is used to express the intensity of emotions. Love, sarcasm, grief, valor, surprise, fear, anger, disgust, and tranquility.
I can portray at least 20 stories. It's 101 stories altogether, and not of all the stories are not popular. These 20 stories are very popular. My teacher taught all the main characters, but we didn't perform all the characters. Some at least half a dozen, 1 dozen stories. But we need a lot of people. Very difficult to train them. Armentrout is actually, I did it, the Sri Krishna in Rukmini Samvaram, the Rukmini marriage of Rukmini and Sri Krishna. And the old defense minister was K.P. Menon. He came to Kalakshetra that day, particular day. He presided over the function, and he's a very big politician, like Nehru's, Krishna Menon, they are all both friends. And Rukmini Devi invited him specially, because I'm a Malayali, You must see that boy's performance. So that's my first performance.
I grew up in a family of artists. We are artists on both sides of my family, going back generations, with painters and illustrators and designers. And I was always interested in theater, which was somewhat scandalous in my family because we were supposed to just be graphic artists. When I went to India when I was 18 with my family, my father having gotten a job there, I saw Bharatanatyam as the body of all the interests that I carried through childhood of art, history, textiles, religion, music, rhythm, detail. It was a very perfect and detailed and constructed art form which appealed to my detailed mind. When I was first learning dance, I knew that I would have to learn how to beat the rhythms of the steps with a stick on a plank, and I thought that was a very intriguing art form, so I practiced it a lot. Even though we weren't actually allowed to practice it, we weren't supposed to beat the thing until we were teachers, officially documented teachers. And but I loved doing it because it was really fun and interesting and had its own challenges. So as I started learning repertoire, I started singing and beating them at the same time, and lo and behold, I actually was able to sing the music and beat the rhythms at the same time. As a dance teacher, I have to, of course, beat and sing all my repertoire. I don't know how people who haven't learned music manage at all. And in the stage, the Natumanar, which is me, the teacher, has to beat the steps of the dance choreography with cymbals. And the mridangist is playing what I'm beating also, but he's coloring it with more patterns in his fingers. And the singer is singing the song, and he can elaborate in different ways. I cannot elaborate on anything. I am the person who has to be the link between the drummer and the singer and the dancer. And the other musicians can follow and drift over it, as I said, as a perfume in the air. I'm limited that I have to really be with the dancer. And if the dancer screws up, I have to try to help him or her through it so that everybody stays together. There's that final beat. Everybody has to be there at the same time, right on the beat. Music is sometimes very straightforward and sometimes rather abstract. But let's take just a line of music. Nadritatim tumtritatim tananana mapani tapa ma tapa mageri pa mageri sa, which is just an 8-beat refrain of music. And the beats that have to go on that may be very plain, and they may be like this. Nadritatim tumtritatim tananana mapani tapa ma tapa mageri pa mageri sa. So they go sort of in almost a fight with the music. So I wouldn't normally, except in teaching, have to be able to sing and beat that at the same time. But it's a good thing I can, because then I can help the students relate the music to the beat. Because if you just count it out mathematically, you can lose the music and get really badly lost. So it's good to have both of those things together. And in that way, the things are elaborated on infinitely. Infinitely. It's the most wonderful, exciting art form that's never boring. There's always something more to learn about it. We met at Kalakshetra. He was my Kathakali teacher there. We actually had a somewhat mystical
after Australian tour, right?
Let's see, let me just think of some way to put this into better words. A mystical announcement preceded our meeting. Well, I went to say goodbye to my old Kathakali teacher, and he had a copy of a Kerala newspaper there, and there was a story about the Kalakshetra troupe having just returned from a 3-month tour of Australia, and the entire 24-member delegation was in a photograph about 3 by 2 inches high, and I pointed and I said, "Who's that?" And he said, "Oh, that's K.P.Kunhiraman. He's from my place. He'll probably be your Kathakali teacher." So I don't know why I just pointed to that one. Just quickly, without even thinking, I did it. We had quite a good life, except that we were very poor. We were artistically satisfied with our life there. Several of my friends died in the last few years I lived there, and I was so impassioned by their death that they had died away from their country and without their parents being there. I think when foreigners go, when an American or anyone from another country goes to another country and makes it home, it's very hard for the parents, and especially in my family. My father had come from Europe during the war and made a life in America for his children and his future. And I rejected that and walked out of it. So I always felt that even though it wasn't that I had rejected it, I feel like I'm really a quintessential American in many ways. And I'm proud of what I've done with my life. But then that little element of guilt is there that I left the gift that he had given me and took another gift that life had just given me by chance.
Good evening, friends. I am pleased to introduce my husband, K.P. Kunhiraman, and myself, Katherine Kunhiraman. Kunhiraman is from a family of Kathakali dancers. He was trained by Guru Chandu Panikar in Kalakshetra Institute of Fine Arts in Madras, South India. We are happy to share with you a small taste of Kathakali tonight. This is a scene from the dance drama Kalyana Saguntikam, which is an episode from the Hindu epic Mahabharata.
En kannaya kandalum ni en kannaya kandalum ni.
Just 3 or 4 days after Kunhiraman arrived in the United States, we had our first performance in Live Oak Theatre at the Gala Galactic Extravaganza of Healing, Martial, and Performing Arts. And we had been in the theatre dressing up for so many hours, we didn't even know what was going on in the rest of the festival. And afterwards, we walked across Live Oak Park, and we were just appalled at the sight of people doing yoga almost naked and jumping around with hardly anything on, playing the flute.
One person don't have any clothes.
It was just so amazing to us. We never saw anything like that. And I had missed the whole 60s and 70s living in India. I'd missed the Vietnam War, and I'd missed the basic part of the hippie movement. And it was really an astounding sight. It was the first time that we'd started on our own. We'd both been connected to great institutions in India, so to come here with no university or no philanthropist backing us, it was a very hard path we had chosen, and full of many adventures and great victories and some defeats also. But we just went after it with such tenacity. The same tenacity that I'd taken up Indian dance to begin with. But I remember one time we had a Kathakali performance and nobody was free to give us a ride from our apartment, and we dragged the suitcases of costumes in our shopping cart from our house to the theatre and then dressed up there and pushed them back again afterwards. It's just things like that were just so, we just were crying in our hearts that we had come here. Then we performed for many years, 9 times a year at Live Oak Theatre. It was just the right size for Indian dance, being small and having an intimate audience, because that was the best time of our performing years. After that I hurt my knee and I stopped dancing. I think we have had about 45 to 50 students graduate, and that's actually go through the whole process of doing an Armentrout. But through the school must have been hundreds and hundreds. You know, some who have stayed for quite a long time and then just disappeared. Some who have come for 2 days, and then, you know, the mothers will come up and tap me on the shoulder. How long will it be before they start dancing on a song? And I say about 2 years, and they just drag the kid out straight away. That's it. End of dance lessons. I want them to understand the aesthetics behind this art form and try to make it theirs as much as they can. And I want them to love the dance first. Whether they can do it or not is next.
Nowadays, most of the people just voluntarily coming to you to study. If you talk them nicely and, okay, don't do like that, do like this, they'll listen. In those days, the old system, they cannot do that because they didn't learn the same way. They also, his teacher taught, okay, sit down, kick them, write them, beat them, like that. That's how she followed the same tradition. But we didn't follow that tradition.
There are 28 single hand gestures which form an alphabet, and when used in different positions and combinations, they become words. For instance, this one is called Kartari Mukham, which means scissors face, and it can use to say this or that, the difference between men and women, coming together, to roll, to fall, to show the corners of the eyes, to die, to show variety or cunning, and vines and creepers. And then in this way, so many things can be shown. A line of poetry in dance can be interpreted in different ways. The line may say, I'm filled with love for you, and the love is shown like this, and so much love is in me, it is like that. But then it will also say, separation from you causes me pain, the breeze is intolerable to me, the sound of my pet bird I cannot bear, so I send it away. The buzzing of the bees irritates me when it comes together and pokes at my ears and bothers me because I am alone from my beloved. And the mudras are the language. When I'm doing the dances, and I don't know fluently any of the languages that I'm dancing to, but I know word by word, but the mudras become my translation. So sometimes if someone asks me, what does that mean in English, and I have to translate it, and I hesitate as if I don't speak English properly, and it's because I have to translate the mudras into English because the mudras are my language. I would say from 1980, we could date the beginning of our success. In 1980, we started teaching in the Indian community, and we got a grant from the California Arts Council to perform in schools. And then as our students started to perform, then we got more students, and it started to build up. And it's been gradually building up ever since. It's a hard life. It's a very hard life. It's satisfying in some ways, and it's frustrating in many ways. And sometimes I think that I'm the luckiest person because I get to play with the kids all day and teach them and handle beautiful textiles and beautiful music and art and dance and make it bloom in these children. And other times I think, wouldn't it be easier to just throw myself in front of a bus instead of trying to kill myself slowly having a dance school? Always the feeling of wanting to be in both places at once. And even now we feel that. No. I'm so happy that I live here and I love my house and I'm really interested in American history and so many things about life here and Western classical music. And, but at the same time, I always want to be there at the same time. And then when I'm there, I want to be here. And now I'm leaving in less than a week to go to India, and I'm wishing I didn't have to go at the same time. I can't wait to get there. It's always like that, and I think that's the sort of crux of belonging to two cultures, is that you always feel like that. You don't know which side you want to be in. You want to be in both.
variety of steps in our system. So when you train first speed, second speed, third speed like that, then you can build up so quickly, so fast. That will take at least 1 year to build up. If you come regularly, you have at least 2 days in a class, in a week.
2 days a week.
Yeah. Or once in a but once 2 hours once in a week like that. And it is so fast. And afterwards, you can build up one first Alaripu, Jyotiswaram, Sabdam, Ganesha Vandana, like that, slowly built by then Varnam and Tilana, is like that. It will take at least 5 years to build up as a full accomplished dancer. Performance is a giving art, not a taking art, it's a giving art.
the poetry is extended physically through the dance, and the music is extended through the dance. In abstract portions of dance, a pattern is set to the music, but then the pattern is elaborated and developed in different ways, but it always still has to stay within relationship to the music. And that in itself is a kind of magic. And the more I work with this art, the more I realize the layers of things that are happening in it, that there's the basic line of music, and that's sung by the singer. And the mridangam, the drum, is adding the percussion line, which elaborates on that music. And then violin, flute, veena, whatever instruments accompany that, are giving layers of more development, which pass through like waves of a perfume that passes over the earth. Rasa is the ultimate conversation and understanding between the performer and the audience. It's that place of mutual understanding when the artist has been able to project the meaning of the art and the audience has been able to digest it. And sometimes you don't know who is going to understand it, because sometimes it may be a very learned person, or it might be a very simple person who has been touched profoundly in some way. And also sometimes a very simple, non-famous artist may be performing, and it touches your heart because it's genuine. They were my gurus for many, many more things than dance. I can say that When I came to live with them, I was a person who knew nothing of the world. I knew nothing about organizing. I just did my work and kept quiet. I didn't know how to talk to people. From Anna, I have learned the whole organizational skills that enabled me to go to America on my own and start an institution. He gave me a lesson by example in the grace of relating to each person, however small the relationship is, to give yourself to that relationship. From Shantaka, I learned so many things about dance and music and cooking and babies and everything. Unmentionable things, everything. She's a total teacher for me, and Anna is a total guru for me in all the other things. I sat beside them while they taught dance classes and conducted rehearsals, singing and beating the stick and doing the talams right next to them. It must have driven them crazy. No, I can't believe 25 years has passed, and I'm still in America. And there's still more to do. Bharatanatyam definitely will continue into future generations. It's still extremely popular. I don't know if the same sense of using your well-trained body as a vehicle to project the sentiments of the dance as a divine art will preserve, because it has become very much a performing art.
I wish everybody must enjoy, appreciate other people's culture and respect. That is my main motto.
When you are in perfect condition for dance, and you know your dance perfectly, you know your music perfectly, and while dancing you suddenly feel so centered that you become weightless, and you feel as if some force from behind you is propelling you through the dance, and it's not you that's doing the dance is doing it through you, it's doing itself through you.
Oh, I'll continue till I drop.
Okay.
That's my aim. I don't care. Some people say we can 10 people, some people 100 people. But my teacher told me, when you do, you just to do correctly and systematically, truly, then the art will protect you. They will protect. If you do seriously and sincerely, he told me before he died. I still believe in that word.
Some people say that Indian dance is a perfect yoga in itself, because you have to be aware of every part of your body, you have to be aware of your surroundings and your directions, you have to control your expressions of emotions, the positions of your eyes, the positions of your fingers and toes. In every way you have to have some control over yourself, and that's why it's called a perfect yoga.
Nadridridani tum tridridani dim tanadiran nadritildana tum tritildana udana dadardim dim nadridridani tum tridridani dim tanadiran nadritildana tum tritildana udana dadardim dim nadridridani tum tridridani nadiran nadritildana tum tritildana udana dadardim dim Nadritritani tum tritritani